sure,
Uh,
make sure I send this link in the group, man. 'Cause I just don't know how to find this shit.
Play my we live? No. You're on here disputing with the producer. Live and live in color, boy.
Let's see. Oh, never mind. I see it. This place look like these
Ladies
ones.
and gentlemen, boys and girls,
Get cuss.
we back again another episode of the Experts brought to you by the Solid Pods and the Solid Podcast Network. It's your boy Santo Mata. We back after an eventful, well, I don't know to say eventful, All-Star weekend in the NBA. My co-host with me, CJ the X Factor. What's poppin', bro?
Yeah, it ain't cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So what?
nothing going on.
How you felt about? Let's jump right into it. Nah, man, let's jump right into it. We had an we just finished wrapping up the All Star weekend. This past weekend. How you felt about the festivities compared to years before? Yeah, what you thought about it in general?
Um, well, thank God for the Kobe system in the actual game that actually made that competitive again, because that
Yep.
was turning out to be trash. The dunk contest still trash. Um, 3 point contest obviously trash. The fact that you got a 7 footer come out there, come on, man. You gotta do better. You gotta get fellas like Buddy Hield them in the competition, because obviously you gotta know who was set shooters from who was rhythm shooters. Guys like Trey Young, them, they off the dribble rhythm shooters. They're not set shooters. You need set shooters are like big guys are definitely set shooters. Like even if you'd probably put Embiid in that 3 point shooter, he probably would have had a good time and put up a good number because they are set stand up shooters. But jump shooters usually like guys like JJ Redick who's come off screens and hit down shot. They ain't used to just standing there and throwing the ball. So that is a disadvantage to some of the better shooters. And then you got what else? These weird competition, like they just put anything in. Like I don't know what is be going on, but it's looked like Saturday night is just anything going on now. It's taken away from the game. Even on Friday night, I see they had a celebrity game. They don't do rookie or rookie sophomore. Like they need to bring that back. Or they need to do world. I remember they used to do like USA versus world type game, like
That'd be
with
so.
actual NBA players, like not these weird guys. You nobody want to see friggin' fellas who are not in the NBA. Like, why do you want to see you on NBA All Star Weekend? Like, it's a
Yeah,
celebrity game, and then it's supposed to be a NBA rookie type game. It's not supposed to be a celebrity game, and then some other weird type crap going on.
yeah. I think the celebrity game. I didn't really watch that to be honest. I saw some highlights. The only thing I really saw was Miles Garrett doing a windmill to end it. That was impressive.
Miles Garrett had better dunks than the Dunkel.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And the thing is, right, like they had the rookie sophomore game. They had I mean, it wasn't called rookie sophomore, whatever it was called. They switched it up a little bit, made it like a little tournament, whatever. I guess that was okay. Um, like you say, the 3 point shooting and the dunk contest, because I feel as if there's the two main draws on All Star Saturday, right? Friday, it's just a warm up. No one really expecting nothing from Friday. You know what I mean? It's just a warm up for Saturday and Sunday. But the All Star, the dunk contest, and the 3 point contest, they're the two main things I think people is really be looking forward to on a Saturday night. And 3 point contest, I'll start with that. That was lacking, obviously, because you didn't have, like you say, the big guns, right? You got to bring out Steph, you got to bring out Clay, you got to bring out Buddy. You know what I mean? even a Duncan Robinson from Miami. You got to bring out those dudes who have those cannons. You know what I mean? That just, uh, like you say, they automatic set shooters. They thrive inside that environment. And then the dunk contest, bro. I feel like we could have a separate episode for the dunk contest. How bad that was. That to me was the worst dunk contest um probably I've ever really watched on All Star Saturday. That probably is the worst. I try to remember one worse than that, but that probably is the worst. Um, yeah, that was horrible. That was horrible. Um, a question I have is, what you think could be done to fix the dunk contest?
Um, Honestly, the dunk contest was better when you are number one. Stop finding no name fellas to dunk. Like, to be honest, like I said, you know me as a sports better now. Shout out to Sportsbook and Island Luck. But Obi Toppin was the only guy in there I actually thought had a chance. Like I saw the Green, oh yes, Jalen Green, but I was like,
Hmm.
y'all don't watch this guy in games. It like he just clowns around too much for me. And then when he first his first dunk is like, oh, he putting on Timberlands. I was like, see, this boy he ain't serious about life. Like this don't even make sense. If I was the Rockets, I was gonna be ready to cut him right there. Like my thing is like, bro, Obi Toppin was the only guy I saw who could have won that dunk contest, and he won it, and it wasn't even he did spectacular. Like I think they say that was the first dunk ever that didn't have one dunk that got a 50. No dunk in the whole dunk contest got a 50. And it's like, bro, these guys was missing their first dunk, missing their second dunk, missing all their dunks. And it was like, bro, these ain't even our dunks. Like I watched Chicken and Jackson on Yellow Elder put down better dunks than these fellas, bro. Like real talk. Like no joke. I went to work the next day and I was like, wait, Chicken just do windmill on Yellow Elder when we play Sunday. And these fellas come out here trying to do straight dunks and ball, getting the ball, slipping out there. Like, that ain't good. My thing is, you got to get your best dunkers and you got to get star dunkers in there. Guys like Ja Morant should be in there. If you throw Obi Toppin in there, he shouldn't be the best. He should be like the third, fourth best. You got Zach Levine. But I don't care how much times these guys be in it. If I got to invite you every year and no one could beat you, you continue to go and tell someone beat you. I wouldn't put Aaron Gordon. I think Aaron Gordon time is up. And he can't take no more losses. He done lose too much time.
Yeah,
Um,
cheat. So yeah, that.
you got some high flyers around the league that you need to get in the dunk contest. Like unless you looking for this to be phased out, which no one wants to see because people like the dunk contest. You will have to actually get your star NBA players in the dunk contest. Unless if you don't, watch in a few years they can start bringing outsiders. Then you know what happen? NBA fellas can get mad. Oh, why these fellas taking over the show? Blah blah blah. Because boy, plenty of these street ballers who can't really play like organized ball could put down some spectacular dunks. So if the dunk contest about dunking, sometimes you know what you gotta do. You could do two street ballers or two outside guys and two NBA guys. Make it competitive. Make it where the NBA guys actually want to compete and actually stand up for the league to say, hey, he is the best ballers in the world. You can't let two street guys come out here and outperform you. Sometimes, if that's what you got to do to incentivize fellas, they say, "Oh, you should give them $1 million." Like, bro, you realize that some of these guys just make like 30 million, about to be 40 and 50 million. You really think giving me $1 million at the All Star break can make me go there and pop my knee? That don't make sense.
I think um I agree with the bar you said about definitely the stars. I mean, if you look back in the history of the game, we look back at all the legends that have been in this dunk contest, right? You got guys who are top 75 players. Dominique Wilkins, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, right? These are some of the names. Vince Carter, borderline top 75 player, right? Tracy McGrady, borderline top 75 player. These are the dudes who was in these dunk contests. Star players basically was in this dunk contest. Um, and I think whether people want to admit it or not, that could draw the crowd, right? That could draw the crowd. Like you say, John Morant, people don't even got to see John Morant doing reverse windmill, It ain't gotta be nothing spectacular. Just because it's Ja Morant doing that dunk,
Exactly.
everybody could be freaking they said vote.
Miles Bridges.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So you got to get stars or up and coming stars, right? I think Levine and Gordon put on probably the best show we've seen in a long time. They Levine wasn't a star yet. He's up and coming, but he put on the best show we've seen in a long time. And I feel as if that's rare that you get that, because I think a lot of people still are drawn into the star power. Look at people still asking LeBron after all these years to do a dunk contest. You know what I
Come on
mean?
now. Come on.
Right? Like, people been asking Zion. I mean, Zion, you need to get Zion's a story for another day. But people have been asking Zion to do the dunk contest. So star power is what's going to really draw people in, and I think they have to find some way to incentivize stars to want to do this. Like they asked John Morant when he's sitting courtside at the All Star game to do it, and he laughed it off or whatever the case may be. Dudes ain't want to do it at the end of the day. Like you said, they risking injury, they risking, and they spending time thinking about dunks that, quite frankly, they don't even have enough time to really think about these dunks. That's the next thing. They tell you maybe 2-3 weeks before the All Star break that you win the dunk contest, right? Now you compare to the street ballers who practice all year round different dunks. That's all these do. So you at a real disadvantage when it comes to the dunk contest. And then the second thing for me is that we also have to acknowledge that, boy, a lot of these dunks have already been done. So dudes be thinking all type of off the wall stuff, because a lot of the, I wouldn't say simple stuff, but a lot of the basic things you could think of already been done. You can't go there and do no between the leg regular. You could have do that 20 years ago between the leg, and you could get a 51 shot. You could have jumped from the free throw line. You could have get a 51 shot. Now, if fella try to jump from the free throw line right now, they giving him a 45 based on what Jordan do a couple of years ago. So
That's still
the
better than what these niggas doing.
no, it's still better, but dudes trying to think outside the box, and they doing it too. They thinking too hard. I feel they're thinking too hard to where it's now okay. You're trying to do dunks now that you probably can't even do. Right? I don't even know how much times you practice that. Some of them dudes, they practice some of them dunks, bro. Juan Toscano Anderson from Golden State, he tried to do the Vince Carter arm in the rim, and he wasn't nowhere close to getting his arm in the rim. I don't even understand what he's even thinking by doing that.
Yeah, but that's the key with getting star players. See what guys don't realize is star players have a different mentality. Star players have that different performance gear into them. So at the end of the day, like these fellas used to sit on the bench. These fellas used to doing fancy dunks in practice. All that old they need time. These fellas just do these dunks in warm-ups. These fellas just look good when eyes on them, when it's just throwing the ball off the rim in warm-ups and doing your little whatever. These fellas in practice doing all type of weird crap. The problem is these fellas are not showtime performers. When they get in front of the crowd and everything slows down and the camera's sucking on you and everybody eyes on you and the gym go quiet because they waiting to explode for you to get this down. That's when these guys' hearts start beating, and then hands start getting slippery, the ball flinging out their hand every time. See, that's the difference. That's why if you get guys who are showtime performers, like I say, like Levine and Ja Morant and guys who used to being on the floor, who used to making big plays, who used to, like, it's all a mental part of it too. That's why guys like Jordan and Dominique and all these guys used to be so successful, because their mental game is far beyond what, like, just dunking and practice and warm-ups. A lot of these guys get picked because the media see these guys in warm-ups doing some crazy dunk, be like, oh, but he'd look good in the dunk contest. Like, where you find a Golden State guy from? Like, what does he do for Golden State during the season?
He had one post on McGee, and they said he wasn't good for the dunk contest.
Exactly.
Poster, like,
So now you get in the game, you sneak someone who probably McGee already a little off, but he probably didn't even know you was going to get up like that. And this was probably your one time to shine. Your Grammy probably is in the arena, so you was like, yeah, let me go all out. So you trying to show off in front of your Grammy or your girl or something. You don't dip your head off. Now when you get there in the big stage, when the whole world looking at you, and this is your time to make a name for yourself, you put on one of the worst performances of all time. Thank God for Obi Toppin, who, in my eyes, to be honest with you, he was always to me a power dunker. Um, from my watch him in college, everything was windmill. Like he just is a windmill daddy straight through. And then if it ain't windmill, it's between the leg. So I was like, okay, I know this guy coming through. But he actually surprised me. He jumped over someone and put the ball around his back. It's like, oh,
He
okay.
had some nice dunks. He had
All
some
come
really
to
underrated
win.
dunks. He just didn't have enough power to where it really get the crowd attention. But he had some nice dunks. He had the dunk where he going behind your back, and he had the dunk where he going bounce it off the backboard and then dunk it in. Like, I mean, to me, I think I mean, obviously he went out, but to me, I think the selection of him made plenty sense. Like, if you watch him play in the game, if he on a fast break, he doing between the leg
If
in an
you do it
actual game,
between the leg or windmill.
right? So he's an obvious selection for the dunk contest, right? But if you see a guy, you picking a guy for contest based off a poster, that's a little weird to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like anybody could get a poster. Anybody could sneak and get a poster in the NBA. If as long as you 6'7", 6'8", you can sneak and get a poster, right? Um, my ideal dunk lineup, I think, would probably have been uh, Obi, Ja, Anthony Edwards, and um, I want to say Aaron Gordon, but I don't think Aaron Gordon would do it no more. Um, Probably Miles Bridges. That probably have been my ideal dunk lineup. I think you don't have to have all of them have to be stars, but you have to have at least one or two that are real draws that people really, really want to come and see. And that alone will just bring up the energy. Right? You could tell some of even the legends who were sitting courtside did not even know who some of them dudes was who was dunking. You could you could
Exactly.
you could tell, right? You saw Shaquille O'Neal face screw up when he saw when he saw them dudes missing all them dunks. You could see the judges losing patience, right? Because they clearly is young dudes or whatever the case may be. You looking at them as if it's just young dudes. They wasting our time. But if you
And
have some legends, I mean, you have some not legends. You have some really good young players, some future all stars. The energy in the building automatically picks up. So
they need to change that rule too and stop making. I hate this day and age where they make everything so soft. Big man, you got three dunk attempts. From you throw that ball and you bounce that or you make a charge at the rim, that's an attempt. From you attempt to dunk the ball, that's an attempt. These fellas be here trying to do the same dunk 8, 9, 10 times. Like, bro, first of all, this done ain't that hard. Like real talk, like I say, I know Bahamian guys who legit could do these dunks. Secondly, like you done mess up on the dunk like 4 or 5 times. You don't think it's time to switch the dunk? Like you still trying to do the same dunk, and then when you get on dunk 9 and 10, you finally dunk it. You expect someone to clap. It's like you taking the CM test over, like the teacher got to give you the CM test over just for you to pass. And then when you pass, you won an award. Like, bro, we doing this so you could pass. Like they got to take that over, bro. Like these guys killing the dunk contest, and I believe like that actually adds pressure for guys to practice as well. Because if you know you only get 2 chances or 3 chances, you know you can't come out there wasting no dunks. So it's like either you can practice it or you can do better dunks that you know what you could do. Oh, and then like I said, some of these dunks don't make no sense. You got these fellas coming out of the crowd to throw a ball off the side of the backboard. You know how hard it is to throw the ball off the side of the backboard and have it bounce where you want it bounce. Like NBA players
yeah.
is have problems doing that. You got these jokey fellas who come stand up there who look like he this the first time he hold the ball in his life. And you could try to tell him throw the ball off the backboard and so you could catch and dunk it. Like, bro, the last time I see someone actually do that where that makes sense, I think when it's actually looking good. I think it was Steve Nash and Stoudemire. Like Steve
Yeah,
Nash is one of the
Nash.
best passers of all time. And
Nash
he had
going,
and I think he did that even a couple times.
yeah, Nash going, kick the ball up. He going looking to one little kick wide and start on my catch and dunk it. I think windmill it, I think. And
So
then
it's like like anyway, like that whole thing was upsetting. I don't even know why we wasted so much time talking about these dead guys. Just that dunk contest was just
yeah.
a waste of time.
And then like even thinking about it, like, but I started to think about it now. And it's like, but dog, we had some pretty solid dunk contests in the past. But yeah, even I remember when Iguodala was in it, and AI showed off the backboard and he windmill it. So I mean, you got to get you. I think putting rookies in it because Jalen Green is a rookie, right? Jalen Green is a rookie. Cole Anthony's a second year player. I think you're doing risky business by putting rookies and second year players in it. I think you got to try to put in established dudes who people want to come and see. Um,
Exactly.
you know what I
And
mean?
these
But
ain't just rookies. These rookies on garbage teams. Like people in their own city don't watch them. Go like they play what? Orlando Magics. Queen play for what? Houston Rockets. Like bro, people know John Wall more than they know Jaden. Like come on, man.
yeah,
You gotta do something better than that.
you got to get established players, people at least could recognize by name, at least. Um, but yeah, that's our petition, NBA. Y'all try to get the stars back in. And I don't know what y'all could do. Uh, I don't know what y'all could do, bro. Send out a memo. Try and incentivize it somehow. But y'all got to try to get some good players back in it. It only takes one. One
I
domino got to
think
fall,
I
and then
think if I think one year they did something where they tried to get creative because, like you say, it's only so much dunks you could do. I mean, there's more dunks you could do now, but only so much dunks these guys can risk doing. And I think one year they did the whole wheel thing where you spin the wheel and then you have to imitate a legend who did the same dunk. So guys have to either do a free throw line dunk, a cradle dunk, old fashioned like I mean at the same time you don't want to see the same dunks over and over. But if it's young fellas who, like you say, don't have a name for themselves, at least if they could recreate it, if someone to come out there and friggin' do a 360 windmill like Vince Carter, or do a cradle like Jordan, or jump for the free throw line, or do something, it would have still been a better show than these guys friggin' doing whatever crap they was doing. So I don't remember what year that was, but I remember it was a year where these guys spin the wheel and whoever name and line, I think it was Dr. J, Michael Jordan, Massey Spud Webb, and someone else. I can't know. But you spin, you get a dunk. It's almost like in 2K or NBA Live where you pick a section like 360 dunk, windmill dunk, two hand dunk, one hand dunk. You just spin the wheel and then you do whatever dunk randomly pops up.
yeah,
So if they got to bring that back to at least get fellas to do better dunks, then try that because at the end of the day, these fellas they ain't got nothing.
yeah, they bringing out Timberlands and Krills and all that other foolishness.
And they think they creative. Like really, bro? I watch fellas walk in the gym in slippers and put two hand down there. You really think in Timberlands? Come on, man. That wasn't even like he thought that was fresh. Wow.
And miss it 3 4 times, but I don't understand. That I think that pissed me off the most. Like, but you guys see if you miss it once, you miss it 3 4 5 times. Like you say, they don't really count as attempts, but you are clearly trying to do the same dunk. You ain't getting it off, and you expect the crowd to still be into it. The crowd ain't gonna be into that.
Exactly.
So, uh, anyway, they got to do something with it. Dunk contest was one of my favorite things growing up. I'd like to see it, revamp a little bit, but yeah, they gotta think about what they could do. Um, let's get to the actual game itself on Sunday. So on Sunday, like you said, they still experiment with a new Kobe format, which I think been working for them for the past 2 3 years. Um, and it's they play 4 quarters. Um, the first three are timed. You win. The winner of each quarter gets to win a certain amount of money donated to a charity, and then the last quarter they is the first person to 24 essentially, um, from wherever the score stopped. So uh, I feel as if for the last few All Star games, this has caused it to be a little bit more competitive. I don't know if it's just because guys are really trying to honor Kobe by just really playing hard. Um, I do think that's a big portion of it. I do think people are still trying to honor the spirit of Kobe, which is a great thing for the league. Um, and again, this is what we talk about again about star power. Star power will help you to tune into anything, right? So um, overall, I think the game was just a score fest. No one's really playing defense, but that last half, right? I thought Team LeBron, particularly Steph. Steph and Giannis and LeBron, they really put on the show the last 2 quarters.
Yeah, I guess, like I said, the All Star game, it was exciting. Only thing I like this is why I like sports. In a way, it's unpredictable, but in a way, it's still scripted. So sometimes you just watching it to see if it can turn out the way you think it can turn out, or if it's gonna be. It's almost like wrestling. It's like sometimes you could figure out the storyline before it happened. You'd be like, I know that's gonna happen. Or sometimes they pop you up with a surprise. My thing was, and I know Vegas was smart. Like I said, I sports bet. Obviously, you in Cleveland. LeBron was going to win this. LeBron obviously picked a better team. And on top of that, even coming down the stretch, I ain't had no fear. And this was the first time I could ever say this. Even with LeBron playing for my team, this was the first time coming down the crunch time I could ever say, I know LeBron was going to hit this last shot. Like it was basically scripted. You in Cleveland, you done basically throwed all your propaganda all weekend, but oh, the door's still open for a return and blah blah blah. Run on garbage, all type of foolishness.
Definitely get out that later.
Come back here, tell people, say, oh, wherever Bronny is, you going. So
He
all you
definitely
doing
get
is
out that
raising
later.
your son's stock because you trying to get him to pick early because you know he ain't good enough to get picked number one. So now you trying to raise his stock by throwing you in it. So it's almost like you getting draft again. Because whoever drafting that year just can draft Bronny because they know they get LeBron as a package. Um, so I know LeBron was team was gonna win first of all. And second of all, like of course they can give him the last shot. As hard as Steph was, Steph friggin' scored 50 shot, shooting out his mind. Like that was the first time I see Steph shoot like that since he came back from his injury. I mean he had some good performances, but not like that. Like dog is be wild and wild and like Steph making 3 pointers look easier than fellas in the dunk contest. Like when you 6'9", 6'10", dunk shouldn't be hard to you. You could raise your arm and touch the rim. So like you supposed to be making dunks look easy. This guy making 3 pointers look easy because he throwing the ball in the air and turning around before the ball even start coming down towards the rim. Like that's
and,
that's a different
and
level
running them back.
of not just confidence, because some guys could do it and the ball still get missed. That ain't just a different level of confidence. That's a different level of science. Like dog know that his ball already on the path of going in. He could feel it. Like sometimes as a shooter, when you in that zone, you could legit feel from that ball leave your hand. You could legit feel like, bro, I just posing after that. Like when my wrist up, I just posing because I don't let that go and I could feel, but that's straight. I ain't even worrying about that. So I know he in that zone of where, boy, from I let that release go, I could do a whole backflip in the back here. I know that ball running. So that was an entertaining game. Usually you don't get much entertainment from shooting. You get more entertainment from downs, from crossovers, from alley oops, stuff like that. But Steph actually made shooting very entertaining that night.
Yeah. I did tweet before the game that I had LeBron or Steph to win MVP. Because I felt both of them had motive. LeBron being from Cleveland, obviously, I done running on, but the Cleveland talks in the media session. I said this boy definitely have motive to win MVP for the All Star game. If it come down to that. And then Steph was getting booing thing. Steph was getting booing thing in Cleveland, and Cleveland fans still salty about what happened a couple of years back. So they was booing him. So I was like, all right, this boy got a motive too. That's to like shut up the bulls, and that's what great players do. Great players is come out and they don't mind the noise. They just come out and shut up the noise. But like you say, about the shooting display, what he put on. I mean, boy, I don't know if anybody else in the league could could do something like that and have people so entertained. I don't know if anybody else in the league could do something like what he did.
In the
Um,
league.
yeah, I don't know if anybody else in the league could do
Big
something.
man, I don't know anybody else in NBA history
Yeah,
that has been doing what Steph do. Steph, no one I've ever seen. I don't care what great shooter you call. Ray Allen, stand there and watch each shot. Tell it go in.
yeah,
Reggie Miller, watch his shot. Larry Bird, watch his shot. But this guy is even Clay Thompson. As good as they say Clay Thompson is, just some people say Clay Thompson is beat Steph in shooting competitions in practice, and Clay will
Effectively,
stand there and for I don't Clay ability. You know,
yeah.
I see Clay to do some crazy crap, and I feel like Clay could go off at some point. But even him is follow through and hold his pose until he see the ball through. This
But
crazy guy, legit is just fling it and go.
and it ain't even the fact that, and at least it ain't only the fact that he's spinning around and doing all that. Like this boy doing it off the dribble, fadeaways from half court. Like usually great shooters, like you talk about Ray Allen. Most people think Ray Allen, excuse me, is the second greatest shooter of all time. Ray Allen ain't shooting his regular form from half court.
Of course
That
not.
that's what this boy doing. This boy pulling from half court his regular form, and it just splashing through the net. And he got the one where he pump fake, take one step within half court, throw it up, turn around, walk down by Giannis. Giannis, I'm staring at him. Shot going in. This nigga ain't look back at the rim yet, right? And I, like I mean, it's crazy. 16 threes, and we know the All-Star game, and and dudes don't really play no defense, but that taking a lot out of you in terms of energy, boy. Just to get some of the shots he was getting off, that taking a lot out of you, boy. To hit 16 of them, even in an All-Star game, right? Some NBA players can't do that in an open gym, right? And he hit that in an All-Star game. After a while, they started to try to defend him too, because it started to get ridiculous. After a while, them dudes are starting to, okay, let's just take the ball to Jans at least, and he still was dropping them in. So he really saved that All Star weekend, in my opinion. I mean, I wouldn't say it was a horrible All Star weekend, but he really saved it. He really saved that performance. And then LeBron, had the storybook ending, like you said. Caught the ball. Uh, I don't know if people remember Michael Jordan last All Star game when he had the fadeaway over. I think that was Sean Marion. LeBron shot. You know, obviously it looked very similar to that. And he hit the fadeaway and he win the game. I mean, perfect script, perfect ending. I think the overall All Star weekend was definitely a success. And yeah, the NBA should be proud of that. Um,
Yeah, but I mean, like you say, it's just it's amazing to me how this whole shot, like they try to build shooters, and it's amazing to me that the majority of the best shooters to ever play don't have good form. Even Steph will say, "I don't really wake on no form." At the end of the day, my ball goes to the rim. Steph have a push shot.
mhm.
In high school, that's the type of shot. The shot that Steph has is actually like a junior high type shot. That's that shot you actually shoot when you ain't strong enough to flick the
Yeah,
ball with your
I got no
wrist. So
screens.
you push the ball up. And he just went with it from there. Same thing with guys like Reggie Miller. I wouldn't even start with that garbage. I don't know how that used to go in. That man used to cross his arm after he shoot,
Shoot with two
and that
arms.
ball coming. Guys like Rashad Lewis and Ray Allen, slingshot, put it above the head and flick it with two hands at the rim.
And Rihanna's jump really, really high on his jump shot. Usually
Yeah, Ray
they
Allen
tell you
shoot
don't.
flat.
Yeah, they don't tell you.
He's
They tell you
jump
don't jump that
high.
high.
He's jump dead high and shoot his ball straight at the rim. Same thing with guys like Larry Bird. Crank. Larry Bird will crank that ball, put that going in. The only person I could say who really has an elbow in, a high arc, follow through wrist shot is Clay Thompson.
Yeah,
He
he
has one
takes
of the
before.
the perfect form for a perfect shot. But most of the shooters in NBA history, if you really go back and look at it, most of the best shooters in NBA history have some of the weirdest forms, have some of the weirdest shots. And it's amazing. I mean, I ain't telling people whatever, but all I saying is do what works for you. Now, if you trash and you need to get your shot better, follow the format. But if you good with what you shooting with and it dropping, but go with what you shooting with. Because obviously guys like Steph, Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, obviously they showing you that that's it is what it is. Once the ball go in, ain't nobody disputing what you're doing. Like I keep telling people, Steph don't take good shots. None of those shots was good. Not probably like 5 out of that 16 that he hit was good.
Yeah,
The only thing that makes the shot good is the results. If Steph was taking the same shots and missing them, he'd be out the league by now. He'd be someplace playing Euro ball,
yeah.
someplace trying to be a traditional point guard, passing the ball, running pick and roll and garbage like that. Because he could hit that shot, it turns him into a totally different player. It turns his bank account into a totally different tax bracket just because that ball could go through the hoop when he fling that like that.
I'll even add to that. And this ain't no disrespect to do it, nothing like that. And this ain't no oversimplification. But uh, if Steph didn't have his shooting ability, that's it's basically the difference between Steph and a dude like Jimmy Fredette, right? Jimmy Fredette used to take logo shots too, right? People remember Jimmy Fredette in college from taking logo shots as well, right? In the NBA, they wasn't dropping as much, and now people trying to figure out why you taking them, right? So, um, and like I tell people, it all depends on who you are as a player, your confidence level, the work you put in, and all that other stuff. You know,
And
I
coaching styles.
coaching style as well.
Because I don't think if Steph went to the T Wolves, he would have been playing the same. I don't think he would have even been the same player.
I think well, how I feel about that is this: if you see a dude hitting 20 half court shots, if he in practice and he hitting 20 half court shots, 20 out of 20, I think you would be a fool not to let him take them in game. That's how I feel about it. I feel like if you see a dude doing all that in practice and he's shooting at a high level, I think you'd be a fool to say no, don't ever do it in the game. I think
I
you should say,
mean,
wait, let's at least try it once. At least try it once and see what happens.
yeah, but then at that point in time too, you got coaches them who don't care. Like you got guys them who will run the team how they want to run the team, and they tell you you're a point guard, you should be out here making plays for everybody else and setting guys up. I don't think if it wasn't for that system, I honestly don't think Steph would be the player he is. I think he owes a lot of his career path to Steve Kerr allowing that happening. Because even when they had Mark Jackson may have assembled that team, but their whole offense was totally different when they had him there.
The whole,
So it's
the,
like because of the freedom and because of Kerr being the coach that he is, because Kerr could have come in there and say, "Hey, I come from Phil Jackson and I want to run a triangle." And if they run a triangle, Steph Curry was definitely wasn't going to be the same because number one, who's your big man to run triangle to? Draymond?
but
Can't be crazy.
this is why I always tell people that I believe great coaches adjust to the personnel, right? Mark
Yeah.
Jackson, when he came in there, and like you said, you got to give Mark Jackson credit because he assembled the team, and he's the first person that called Steph and Clay the greatest shooting backcourt ever, right? This is why these young dudes, right? And he's calling them the greatest shooting backcourt ever. When Mark Jackson was there, Steph was still an all-star player. He was an all-star player. He was an ascending star. Steve Kerr turned him. I wouldn't say Steve Kerr turned him, but the offense being built around him was what allowed him to be a top 5 player in the NBA, right? Um, Mark Jackson still had him as a pure point guard, essentially. Mark Jackson, he's running the ball up court. He's running pick and rolls. He's setting up his teammates. He had to get other people involved. When Steve Kerr came, Steve Kerr basically sat down and looked at it and said, listen, we could build an offense just revolving around getting Steph as much open shots as possible and Clay as well. Get them as much open shots as possible. That's it. If you have to screen, screen. If you got to set down screen, set back picks, whatever. Get these dudes as much open shots as possible. And that was playing around your person's strengths, right? It's still a motion offense, but it's still playing around your person's strength. Great coaches always, to me, like I say, adjust to what stars they have. It don't make sense you having a dynamic passing center, right? A center who could pass the hell of the ball, right? But you tell him when you get the ball, just give it to the point guard. Don't worry about nothing else. Just give it to the point guard, right? You have to play around your team's strengths, right? You have to. If your big man could shoot, and you tell him don't shoot, just stay on the inside, then you ain't playing to his strengths. You know what I mean? And you limiting your team by doing that, right? So I think on the high school level, that stuff is probably works a little bit better, where you could just build a structure, or whatever the case may be. But when you get to college level, D1, and even onto the pros, you gotta identify your stars, identify what they could do well, and you gotta play to their strengths. But that's the best chance to always win. Um, and that's what's turned dudes' careers around. That's what we remember when dudes' careers get turned around. Uh, all right, so moving on. From the All-Star weekend, we had a bit of a lot of news coming out. Before I get to the LeBron stuff, because there's a lot of LeBron stuff. Um, Let me just bring up the stuff with Zion. So now we getting some news that CJ McCollum, who was recently traded to New Orleans, had said that he hadn't heard from Zion since he was traded there. Right? He hadn't heard from Zion, and no one on the team has been able to give him any information on where Zion is and all that other stuff. And since he said that, JJ Redick came on TV today and said that, excuse me, that Zion is a bit of a detached teammate. See, JJ played with him in New Orleans, and said that Zion just needs to do a better job. Like, he can't be that distant. And since then, Zion has looked like he's reached out or whatever. Um, what are your thoughts on, because we haven't really heard much on Zion. He's been out with a mysterious injury for the entire season. There are reports that he does not want to be in New Orleans. There are reports that he's overweight, right? What are your thoughts on Zion doing this at such a young age?
Like I say, this is the league that they created. This is what I call the LeBron effect. This is the diva nation guys now. They have everybody could be a diva now in sports and be dramatic, because they feel like someone owe them something. My thing is, see, don't. My thing is, don't spoil the prize. At the end of the day, first of all, Zion started off as a YouTube sensation. Zion was basically built into the player that he is. For years, fellas was telling Zion, you're going to need to lose weight. Yes, it is spectacular that you throw in this 300 pounds in the air like this, but at your height, you're going to need to lose weight. Even Charles Barkley came out at the All Star break and saying how, when he first came in the league, Moses Malone told him that, bro, you too fat for guys that is 6'6", and it's gonna hinder your career. And he said, listen, if you want to get in shape, I'll work with you. So Charles Barkley slimmed down, and he became the player that he was, even though at some point he still was overweight. But he was in a much better position than he is now. The problem with New Orleans is they don't have that veteran leadership. They don't have that guy to go to Zion and say, hey, big man, I don't care what pick you is. You're too fat and out of shape. You're not going to help the team if you're always on the sideline in coat suit. So with Zion, everybody trying to put all this weight on Zion to be the leader. And in his eyes, it's like, bro, I just reach here. Like, this is like you getting a seat. People always look at these guys, and it's, if you look at him like he's some super spectacular thing, that's your opinion of him. In his eyes, he's a 21-year-old kid. I come into an organization that has president, that has CEOs, that has a coach, that has a whole staff. Why should I be the one to always? Why is it on me? Now, if I do reach out to guys, that's cool. If I don't, what's the big deal? I just reach out. I trying to get myself together, and if I just so happen not to reach out to a new guy who come to my team that I don't even know, what's the big deal, bro? I'm not a 30-year-old, 10-year veteran asking for this guy to come here or begging for this guy to come here. You all make your trades as GM. If anything, y'all need to be welcoming into the city. Like you say, I probably don't even want to be here. So what I can reach out to the guy for and say, oh, hey, welcome to New Orleans, because y'all probably don't want me to tell him that, boy, this a dump. There's a wasteland. It's best that you probably don't let me talk to him, because obviously I'm motivated to play him. The thing with Zion is, or the whole thing is, like I said, you got to look at these guys. That's like you go into a job. You was the youngest person there. You just reach on this job. And they telling you when people come in, you was the one who gotta show them around, and you was the one who gotta welcome them to the company. Bro, I just reached the company. How you want me? What happened to all these other veterans around here? Why JJ ain't call everybody else out? Why JJ ain't call the fellas who been there? I sure you got other fellas who been on the team 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Why ain't call nobody else out? Why you worrying about me? So in my eyes, it is a right and a wrong, but don't you can't put all that on Zion because I reach out like bro, I ain't like what you want me to do? Like I ain't into that. I ain't into that.
Yeah, this Zion thing is interesting to me because I think I think it could cause people to really evaluate. And
Yeah,
like you say, we really in the player empowerment era, right? We really in the
you
player
painting a
empowerment era.
picture that's not fair to him.
Um, but I think people are really going to start evaluating now um, how much. And when I say people, I probably mean people coming into the draft, right? Players coming into the draft. How much power do they really hold in terms of determining their fate? We've heard it before that people have said it before that if you choose a job, you could choose whatever job you want to choose. You could choose to work at which company you want to work to. Athletes, they don't get to choose which organization they play for, right? And I think you see now a lot of athletes. It's been happening, but I think you're seeing now a lot more athletes trying to force their way, strong arm their way into certain situations. And um, you have athletes in the past that have only worked out for certain teams, right? They say, I only work out for this one team. I don't want to work out for no one else, right? And um, for Zion, when I could remember that draft lottery clear as day because I wanted us to the fall in the next. Clear as day, I remember that draft lottery. And when they announced that New Orleans had the first pick, you saw Zion's face. It did not look like excitement. It did not look like he was happy with the fact that New Orleans had the first pick. Um, and we have a dude who in year 3, right? Your first year, you ain't really play like that. Your second year, you had a really good year. Your second year, you had an all-star level year. Your second year. Your third year, which is now, you ain't play for the entire season. And already it looks like you fed up with a franchise. And I mean, it's generation is a little weird to me, boy, because you didn't see the older players dealing with that. Now, granted, like I say, not everybody's happy that they get drafted to certain teams now. Steph didn't want to get drafted by Golden State. Okay. Kobe wanted to fall to LA, wanted to get to LA, right? He basically forced his way to LA, right? So this is not new, but oftentimes you still see players say, okay, I get drafted here, let me make it work until it's my time for free agency. And if you leave in free agency, I don't really have no problem with that. I think everybody obligated to leave in free agency. And, everybody obligated to ask for a trade too. But at some point, it's like, okay, um, what are we doing to get to that point? You know what I mean? Like, you want out, but you ain't even really producing. You see what I'm saying? Like, I see if you want out, I see if you want to get traded and you still giving your all on the court. That's different, right? But you want out and you ain't playing. You ain't showing up to practice. You ain't showing up to games. You basically pouting on your way out the door. Like, I feel it's a bad precedent with being set. I can make it seem as if LeBron did that because LeBron always left during free agency. But I will say that LeBron incentivized a lot of people to do it, namely Anthony Davis. That was the main person he did incentivize to act a certain way to get out of New Orleans. So it's just a weird generation we're in right now, where players just pouting and whining, and it's sort of turning the NBA a little bit into a soap opera almost. Um,
Yeah.
that's just my
So
opinion.
the problem with that is, like I said, like you say, LeBron is advocating for these guys to, I guess, pick where you want to play or have a destiny. But like you say, LeBron, he never do that. He ain't never forced no trade. He ain't even forced no hand. Even now, when he say he can play with his son, his contract will be up the same year his son is available. So they ain't like, oh, I forcing you to trade me and this and that, which he could have easily done at any point in time in his career. And it would have been like you ain't had no choice. Secondly, like I tell people, you can't come. I mean, it's good that guys try to mentor you and stuff like that, but there are stages in life. LeBron ain't the type who was doing these things at 24. When LeBron finally got his will to clear, he's done 7 seasons in. He gave them from 2003 to 2010. He gave them 7 seasons. So that means he was off his rookie deal and he already signed the extension with Cleveland. So he made it to finals. So he gave them time to pan out. And then after a certain amount of time, he said, okay, listen, all right, I gave y'all 7 years. This ain't looking too strong. Time to slide it. These guys coming in and in 1 year or 2 year, same thing with Ben Simmons. You just reached, bro. You just signed an extension the other day. You was happy, but you was happy for the money. Now, when it comes to contract obligation, all of a sudden now, and I don't blame teams for finding these guys because you can't be out here think you could finesse me, and you want me to pay this big 30 something $1 million contract a year. But then you can tell me you ain't showing up to practice, you ain't showing up to game, you ain't listening to my training staff, you ain't care what the medical staff have to say, you want sit out. And then you can go to another team and then you will come out today and say, oh, you could be ready in a couple of weeks.
He
What
goes for that
happened?
though.
What happened to the mental health? What happened to the assistance that you needed? What happened to all the drama that you caused when you was with my team? Now you in Brooklyn. All of a sudden is, boy, ramping up my workouts. I could be ready in a couple of weeks. What you mean, bro? What you mean? You
And
know, what have they done to me? What have Philly done? And the problem, I also, Doc Rivers is not a good coach. I always tell people that. This year, Philly has a top team with an MVP candidate. I guarantee you, right now, that Philadelphia will not win the NBA championship this year. I guarantee that. I don't care what happened.
yeah, I can't see them winning it either. They have too much perennial chokers. You know about Doc Rivers, James Harden. I wouldn't call Embiid a choker, but Embiid does get a little flustered on the playoff flights. He's still young, so that could always improve. But yeah, but even with Harden, you mentioned Simmons, even with Harden, right? Let's look at Harden. This dude would get every single thing he wanted in Houston. Every single thing. He wanted Dwight Howard, they give him Dwight Howard. The minute he wanted Dwight Howard out, they ship him out. He wanted Chris Paul. The minute he wanted Chris Paul out, they ship him out. He said, give me Russell Westbrook. The minute that didn't work out, after that, he was out. Right? And this a dude who gone get traded to Brooklyn. Beg for a trade. Get traded to Brooklyn. Not even 2 years in.
Two.
Shoots barely a year in because you get traded mid. No, you get traded at the beginning of the season, but not even 2 years in. You already decide. You know what? This ain't working. I want out again, and it's like, wait, when will it stop? And it's always a period, and this the thing with Harden. It's always a period where his play, you can tell, is very obvious by him playing that he don't want to be there. In Houston, he show up the camp out of shape. Show up the camp out of shape, get blowed in the opening preseason games. And then I can come in the press conference and say, we just ain't good enough. We don't have a good team. Right? You ain't even trying. Right? And the last game he played for Brooklyn, right? It was obvious the dude didn't want to be out there. They was giving up three after three to Sacramento. Get blowed in Sacramento. Then afterwards you say, sit out, I got an hamstring issue. Now, didn't barely want to show up the All-Star weekend. Right? And you could see it when Kevin Durant then pick him last in the All-Star draft. So it's like at some point, like I said, I could respect if you leave in free agency. If everybody have their right to leave in free agency. If you feel as if the team ain't doing you good, your contract up, you're free to explore your options. I could always respect that. I can respect if you ask for a trade and you still go there and do your job. I can't respect if you ask for something and then you start pouting and whining and carrying on. And even with Ben Simmons, I agreed with Ben Simmons wanting out of Philly. I agreed with that. But when he started to do all that extra stuff, showing up to practice, going home 5 minutes later, that's when I was like, all right, bro, what you trying to accomplish here? You know what
I
I mean?
mean, I ain't lie. If I ain't playing, I need to be able to full practice for true. But my thing is with Harden. My thing is, I keep telling guys, see, everybody like to run on, but oh, when you get to the NBA, but the goal is a championship. Stop it. Please stop it. If you get and you win a championship, like people like Draymond, you're just lucky to be in certain situations where you add to a team and it becomes a championship team. A lot of people play this game for money, for the fame, for the stardom that comes with it. James Harden has never in his career has ever come up and publicly say, "Oh, this season is it's all about the championship." Disregard everything else. This is all about the championship. Obviously not. James Harden made it to the finals with OKC and still cried to get out of there. James Harden was just in Brooklyn on a championship team and cried to get out of there. So it's like, you know where he was most happy? When he's in Houston losing. When he's just getting to the playoffs. You know why they don't be, you know why it's no problem getting to the playoffs? Because after you don't get your 35, $40 million a year, every round you make in the playoffs is now an extra $50,000 a game or something like every round is an extra incentive. Every game you play in the playoffs is more money. You got guys out here who just playing for the money. Don't forget, James Harden is one of the $400 million guys. He got $200 million from Houston when the CMGM that brought him to Philly was there. And then he got $200 million from Adidas when he had his foot barefoot with them crab toes out that time.
You got a
And people
lifetime
was
deal to
scared.
this now.
Yeah, exactly. So my thing is, obviously, dog, content. You really think I can out here to risk it all for any championship? And I got $400 or $500 million set up, and I ain't even the top player in the league. So if I ain't the top player in the league, at no point in time, and you let me shoot up all the ball, you let me run the team I want, do what I want, and you gonna pay me top dollars? You think I really care about any? Why you think they say he was uncomfortable in Houston? I mean in Brooklyn. My thing is, even he said it. Philly was always my first choice, not because of the city, not because of the team, but it was because that GM is the GM who changed his whole career. That
Yeah.
GM is the GM that traded for him to get to Houston. That GM is the GM who gave him that super deal. GM is the GM that gave him all that money, all that incentive, gave him the keys to the city, give
Every
him
trade he won.
everything he want. So the only reason James Harden probably didn't go to Philly right off the bat is because Houston probably was salty and was like, "Boy, we ain't trading this guy to Philly because we know that GM will leave us in Philly." So he is like, "Okay, let me go to another team,
That's probably the main reason.
see if it look good, and then I can still force my way to get to Houston because he can be a free agent this summer." So his plan was always, "Boy, what I go to Brooklyn for? KD done max out, Kyrie done max out. You think I gonna get stuck in Brooklyn? No, big brother. When I go to Philadelphia, only Embiid really max out, and Tobias Harris, we can cut that anytime we ready to cut that. If James Harden come out right now and start warring with Tobias Harris, he gone this summer. So it's like, who you think can get a supermax this summer? I guarantee you, James Harden's gonna get one of the biggest contracts in the league either this summer or next summer, regardless of his health, regardless of them winning a championship, regardless of them making the playoffs, or whatever he does. James Harden will get one of the wealthiest contracts in NBA history in the next 12 months.
But even with a point you said just now, some people play for the money. I think you were absolutely right. Some people do play for the money. And I think the NBA recently had their top 75 ceremony. James Harden was on the list, obviously. Um, to me, these are the things that determine your legacy, right? Like, Yes, people play for the money, but if the great players, anytime you heard them speak, it was always about championships. You heard Jordan speak, it was about championships. Kobe, it was about championships. Even LeBron, you hear him speak, LeBron concerned about winning rings, right? These players now, and like you say, it's not that they don't want to win; they want to win their way, right? They want to win in terms of they being the main guy, I taking 30 shots a game, the offense built around me, and if we win like that, cool. Other than that, let me just get my money and go home. But like I tell people before, people look at a guy like Dame, for instance, and Dame is a great player, right? And people saying, Dame path, him leaving Portland, it's hard. Dame taking the hard path to win a championship. In my opinion, Dame taking the easy path because he know in Portland he ain't have no chance to win a championship. It's absolutely zero pressure on you to win a championship in Portland, right? No
Really.
one's expecting anything from you. So all you do is make your stats, put them to the playoffs, little piece. You get bounced out the first round, everybody's still praising you. The
Yep.
real pressure, as we see now with Westbrook, is when you have to integrate yourself into a championship team. That's the real pressure because now the expectations on you. Now people expect you to win a championship. And if you don't deliver, that's when people look at you in a different light. So a lot of people, winning ain't really that important, and you could see it by their decisions and their what they value. You could see it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, to me, like I said, that winning is what really separates the greats from the people that are not so great.
Yeah, I guess. Speaking of winning and championships, the Brooklyn Nets added another piece this week and getting another point guard in Goran Dragic. And at this point in time, it's almost getting to the point of unfair, um, because at full strength, these guys game complement each other so much to the point of, like, especially with that coach. See, I think if you get a Brooklyn Golden State final, I think that will be one of the most offensive finals in NBA history because you can have guys like Steph, Clay, you got Jordan Poole who's come alive when he ready. Draymond Gee a hard 5 points. Um, Satan fellas. And then on the other side, you got Durant, you got Kyrie, you got Simmons. People think Simmons just is a pass first, but he's a pass first player who still could average 20 something points a game. Um, Drummond playing defense. You got Dragic now, who's another guy who could spread the floor. Then you got guys coming off the bench like Seth Curry, Harris, all these things. And it's like, with that Steve Nash offense, where it's run and gun, and you have a big guy in the center, once that ball come off the rim, you got either Simmons, who's a very good rebounder, who could start a break. You got Durant and Kyrie running on the wing. It's like, how you stopping this? The only thing that could beat the Brooklyn Nets going forward is health. A healthy Brooklyn Nets team is not going to get beat this season. Trust me. Even with the Milwaukee Bucks, even when it was only Durant last year, one big toe, because Durant won wear size 22, one big toe is what stopped Durant from beating Milwaukee by himself. So now if Durant got someone like a Ben Simmons, who has the same size as Giannis, who has very good defensive skills that could slow him down, not stop him, but slow him down from getting a head start to the rim. And then you get Andre Drummond behind you, backing you up to come over on the help side. You really got a chance now in the Eastern Conference to dominate Milwaukee. You could dominate Chicago. You could dominate Miami. You could dominate any team you go up against because you have now not just an offensive firepower. You got one of the best rim protectors in the league. I don't care what no one say about Andre Drummond. He's one of the best rim protectors and defensive rebounding bigs. And you get one of the best perimeter defenders. So instead of only adding offense to your team, you turn your offensive team into now a more well-rounded all-around team because you got guys like KD who could give you 50, Kyrie who could give you 40, Ben who could give you 30, Seth Curry who could give you 20, and then you got guys out here who could lock down your best perimeter player and slow down your best post player. So the big matchup I want to see in the East is Brooklyn going through Philadelphia. And then when it gets to the finals, I want to see Brooklyn go through Golden State. Those two matchups, if we could get them this year, this would be one of the best playoffs, even though we had some good playoffs recently. This would be a good playoffs to watch if you could get those teams match up in those type of situations.
For entertainment purposes, I definitely want to see Brooklyn and Golden State. For entertainment purposes, for sure. Entertainment purposes, the same thing. Brooklyn and Philadelphia. I'd love to see that. That would be an intense. I think that series goes 7 games just off the hatred, right? Just off the hatred, I think that series goes 7 games. Um, However, with Brooklyn, I don't think it's Brooklyn yet. I think it's too stacked at the top of the East. I think uh, Ben Simmons is going to need some time to get integrated within that system. Um, how does he look? After, I mean, at the end of the day, you only ask him to play defense and rebound for sure, right? And if Kyrie is healthy, if Kyrie is allowed to play full games, then yeah, they got as best shot as anybody. Um, but the East still tough, boy. The East still tough. Giannis them still tough. Philly, I don't really believe in Philly that much, but Philly could be at the top there. Um, Miami, I still iffy on Miami. I picked them to come out, but I iffy on them. Miami, they still tough at the top there as well. So I don't think Brooklyn can cakewalk in this year, but I think Brooklyn have a hard if they want to get that, especially with the seat in their end. Now, obviously, like I say, with Kyrie being restricted by vaccination mandates, it's actually better that they have a low seed so that he can play most of the games of that series. Um, but it could be a tough road. Now, the good thing is, like I said, KD getting rest. KD getting rest. So he should be ready to go when playoffs roll around. But it could be a tough road in the East. But the East at the top, at least, is a little difficult. And then Boston rising now, too. Although I don't think Boston will beat Brooklyn. But it'll be a tough road.
Like I say, a healthy Brooklyn, none of those teams will call beat them. If you name Chicago, they don't have a five to stack up with Brooklyn five. If you go, like I say, Philly, I would love to see Simmons guide James Harden and Drummond go head to head with Embiid.
That's
That'll be
skills.
pretty. Nah, I wouldn't say that.
What?
In the paint, no.
That's skills.
The
Embiid
only
and Bras
advantage
coming on tape.
Embiid have is that he is a very good jump shooter. He'll kill you with the mid range and he'll kill you with 3 point.
Like,
Going
they
to
got
the rim,
they got footage on YouTube of
it's not
Embiid
easy.
embarrassing Drummond in a couple of games, bro. Embarrassing him, completely outplaying him.
And you
Like
think Drummond come right back and do the same thing over, knowing that this
yes,
is what you
Drummond
coming
is
to
a
do?
worse player, much worse player than Embiid. He's a much worse player. That's
Not
kills.
defensively.
Now, if you want to say Durant win his matchup by a lot, of course. Durant wins his matchup by a lot. Whoever guarding him, he win that matchup by a lot. The key would obviously be, like I said, Kyrie. The key would be Kyrie. If Kyrie is there, it could be difficult.
Kyrie has zero to worry about. At
It could
this
be
point in
difficult.
time, New York is already slackening up on some of their COVID restrictions. You now could have in dining without mask, without all these. In a matter of weeks, probably you're gonna hear now that Kyrie could play full games. So when you get Kyrie up to speed, you got Simmons up to speed, you got Durant coming back, and then you got a mix of shooters and defensive guys who you just added in. There's no way you're beating a healthy Brooklyn. No team in the East. Yeah, the East is top heavy, but they top heavy for second place. They top heavy to see who go into the Eastern Conference Finals against Brooklyn. Like, I don't see no five, even with Giannis. Them, like I say, now you don't even have to put Durant on Giannis no more. You actually can let Durant take his time on defense and guard whoever else they got out there. What, Chris Middleton? Ooh. And you could put Simmons on Giannis and go like that. Chicago, someone got to prove that there's a playoff performer around
I
here.
don't believe in Chicago.
DeRozan, and I mean, I ain't saying he can't do it, but DeRozan hasn't proven himself to be a playoff guy to carry a team. Zach LaVine neither. Lonzo Ball definitely no. So it's like Chicago could be one of those teams. It's always every year is a top team that disappoints you. Like always, like how Utah is be a top team in the West every year and never go nowhere. That's how Chicago looks to me this year. They don't have that superstar power to where in the fourth quarter you could actually throw a ball in and say, hey, give me 20 points in the fourth quarter to close this game out, and that guy could do it. So with them and with Boston, Boston to me is too small and not defensive enough to deal with Brooklyn. There's no team in the East I see even getting close. The closest team probably is either Milwaukee or Philadelphia. And even if you match them up head to head, you see that Brooklyn is far more talented, far more better position.
Uh, I would say this. I don't trust Philly. If I had to trust Philly, I'd have Philly come out the East. I think Philly is a better balanced team than Brooklyn. I think Philly, you have a
How?
dominant big man who can score. You have a hybrid guard who can score and facilitate. You got defenders, Thibault,
What
Donnie Green.
defenders?
You got a third guy, Tobias Harris, who can
Who?
also get you 20 a night, a reliable 20 a night. Like this, theoretical. He could give you 20 a
Who?
night consistently. You got a young emerging star, Tyrese Moxey. To me, Philly have the best balanced team, but I just don't trust their coaching.
Your
That's
nigga
the that's
never
the
learn.
that's the biggest thing with now. Well, coaching, I don't trust Harden. I think those are the biggest things. I don't trust coaching. I don't trust Harden. But if Philly was to come out East, I wouldn't be that surprised because they have, to me, they have the best balanced team. Um, they have enough scoring options and they got defense on both sides. They got a you talk about rim protecting center, and B is probably top two,
And then
top two.
and then who?
What?
Because in B, see the problem is this is what I look at with matchups. If your best is guiding my voice, you ineffective. Because guess what? Who in B is guiding? Drummond. I ain't expecting nothing from Drummond. Drummond ain't going to there and give me 30 points no how. So if Embiid is there the best defender and you putting him on Drummond, okay, that's cool. Everything cool. Number two, who's the second best defender?
Thibault.
And who Tybal guiding?
Thibault got a guard probably want to KD them. I wouldn't suggest
Kills.
I wouldn't suggest he got KD because KD could score any which way. I'd suggest he
Exactly.
probably got probably want to carry them.
Kills.
You might have a chance to slot down.
Your second
But they
best
got
defender getting torch. Because one of them got a guy carry, one of them got a guy
what's that?
Durant.
Who's
Your
shutting down?
second,
But hold on,
huh?
hold on. No one's shutting down Kyrie or Durant. Let's just get it right.
Exactly.
Right?
But on the offensive end, on the other side, these
Mhm.
guys don't have to shut you down. You see in Tybal go off any 30 points. When last Harris gone off for 30 points? Mr.
He
Max
could
contract.
he could get 30 though.
Oh boy.
He could get 30. All right, let's look at what Harris actually averaging. See,
In the playoffs, with James Harden on that team, he can't even shoot 15 shots
that
to
would be the
get
biggest
30.
issue right there. So and
All
that's what
right.
it comes down to James Harden, right? So you have a dude who in Harris, right? He giving you 19 a night. Giving you 19 a night, right?
19 when you was the number two. Now you was the number three.
I wouldn't say he was even a clear cut number two because he still had to share touch with the Seth Curry. But yeah,
So if you
all
was
right.
number three, now you was number four.
Well, this should be even again. This all comes down to whether James Harden is actually going to show up because James
Exactly.
Harden provides something that Philly has not had, which is a legitimate pick and roll player. Ben
Pick and
Simmons was
roll.
that. Ben Simmons was that, but Ben Simmons could not shoot, right? Which limited his effectiveness in the pick and roll. If James Harden can be that same threat he was in Houston, right? Because people forget
It's not a pick
Embiid
and
is
roll center.
Embiid is not a pick and roll center. Embiid has scored all of his shots basically off his own will. He don't really get them created for him, right?
Exactly.
If Harden could find a way to limit his limit his load, just get him a couple easy baskets a game, that could diversify their whole offense.
I
If
don't know.
Harden could find a way to do that,
You know this
He's
get
going
me
to be
with
the key.
y'all. I don't understand. Like if y'all, I just expect better of y'all because I think be like, okay, y'all play basketball at some sort of level, but you ain't coming to my team, and I is the star. I is the MVP candidate. You just reach here, and I can conform my game to you. I is MVP. You
Well,
realize that right now,
do you want to win or no?
if the season over right now, MVP is Embiid.
He's MVP if the
So
season
if
over.
I say MVP, you was a fella coming off a team that you couldn't gel with great sellers, and you had other centers who like to roll. I don't even like to roll. I like to catch my ball either low post when I know I got something to kill, or I like to catch my ball to the 3 point line and either do my little stupid head fake and go to the rim, or I like to shoot my three. Now you won't come down the court, Mister Dribble, 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 step back, 4 steps, shoot 3 pointer. And you want me to come out here and set you a pick, and then I must run to the rim like a clown, and then all I must do is get alley you. No, big brother.
The question is, do you want to win or not? Because if in order for you to win,
Has you
I
been proven to win?
I need to be the best version of myself.
Yeah, but have Harden ever even been proven to win?
No, but as a Embiid have
So
improved to win
why am I even conforming to you?
because they need each other to win. Both of them have never won anything.
Right.
Yes or no? Both of them have never won anything.
And I,
Harden,
hey,
watch this. Watch
it ain't
this.
gonna start now either.
Watch this.
It ain't gonna start now either. I can be real.
Embiid would be the best player Harden has ever played with, correct?
The best big man.
Or let me rephrase that. Embiid, since Harden entered his prime.
Harden played with plenty good
Well,
players.
Jesus,
The
I just
man
said
just come
Harden
off a
came.
team with
Harden
friggin'
came.
Kevin Durant.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Harden would be the best player Embiid ever played with.
Best offensive player, yeah.
He'd be the best player he ever played with. Ben Simmons is not a better player than Harden. No way you slice that he's a better player than Harden. No way.
Depending on my team, I wouldn't say better player, but I would rather Ben Simmons in different situations. Like
Okay.
on Brooklyn, I'd rather Ben Simmons than Harden.
I would rather Ben Simmons on Brooklyn too. But I'm saying Harden is a better player than Embiid. I mean, Harden's a better player than Ben Simmons.
I
We
mean,
seen what
okay,
happened.
hold on now. Look at it in a totality. We always say better because we only look at one side of the ball, right? But if Harden is average, let's say, what, 25, 28, how much Ben Simmons is average? Ben Simmons ain't far behind. No. Last season when Ben Simmons was playing, Ben Simmons averaged like 20, 22 a game. So it's like if my offense may not be as shooting or whatever, but at the end of the game, I actually more efficient because I scoring 20, 22 points off of pure layups and I wouldn't even say free throws, even pardon my stats. My friggin' points legit off of 10 layups.
Hey, listen.
And I
as much-
shooting 12 shots. You shooting 30 shots and only hitting 14. And then on the defensive end, I far head and shoulders above you. If you look at efficiency, PER rating, and all these good things, you could make a case that on the court, Ben Simmons is way more effective than James Harden. Is
I wouldn't
James
say that.
Harden more flashier? Yes. Even at guard, don't forget Ben Simmons is even at a different position. As a point guard or whatever, who would you rather to facilitate your ball on the court?
It all
Someone
depends
who
on
is pass first, or someone who looking for either you to set him a pick or he going one-on-one.
it all depends on my team. And that's the thing. With you using these, you saying, all right, he could be effective in terms of the way he scores, right? Efficiency wise, he probably is slightly more efficient than Harden because he's just getting dunks and layups, right? As much as Harden is meltdown in the playoffs, I 10 times out of 10 taking him over Ben Simmons in the playoffs. 10 times out of 10.
In the playoffs,
10 times out of 10 taking him over Ben Simmons, who passed about open layup. I 10 times out of 10 taking him over Ben Simmons. But I think that the thing is, what you ain't looking at is they play different roles. So for Ben Simmons, he can play the facilitator role, right? He can play the facilitator role. He can spray the ball around, get guys open shots, right? That's what he does very well, right? But what Philly needed for the last couple of years was another half-court scorer, right? So now you add that guy who has the potential. I gotta say he has the potential because he has not shown that inside Brooklyn. He's shown it at Houston, even though he's melted in the playoffs. You're a guy who has the potential to give you the half-court scoring that you lack, right? That's what Ben Simmons could not have gave you. right? Ben Simmons could not have given you any semblance of a half court offense if it was either Embiid or that's it, right? Now you have another option, a reliable second option, a guy who should be a reliable second option, to say, hey, if Embiid can't get it going, we could always give it to you, and you can make something happen, right? So while Ben Simmons was the second most important player on Philly, he never could have filled that weakness of half court scoring. So now Harden gives them a better chance to do that. Now, would I pick them? Like I say, I don't trust Harden and I don't trust Doc Rivers. But in terms of talent, I think they are a much more balanced team because they can score on the perimeter better now and they can score down low better. So, I mean, they could always score down low, but they could score on the perimeter and they could score down low. So, to me, they much more balanced. All Embiid have to do, I mean, I don't really worry about Embiid. Harden just have to play sort of similar to what he played like a year ago in Houston.
Well, good luck. At the end of the day, on most teams and in most situations, I taking Ben Simmons over Harden. If I own a trash team and I need a superstar just to make my game look competitive, I'll take James Harden any day. That's a pure scorer. He can make the game competitive. But if I own a team where I go on for a championship, it definitely wouldn't. Harden would never be my first option as a superstar who can say, "Hey, this is my Batman or my Robin for a championship." That's why I feel like he squandered the opportunity in Brooklyn because he didn't have to be Batman or Robin. He could have been, I don't know, Aquaman, whoever is be someplace in the corner, whatever. But at the end of the day, we'll see how it play out. My money is definitely on Brooklyn. I see now they have Golden State as a very high odd. So I had to put in a bet today on Golden State to come with the West because they had Phoenix. But I guess they ain't changed their odds yet because Chris Paul out. My thing is, if Chris Paul injured now, he will be re-evaluated in 6 to 8 weeks. That team could go on a nice little slide between 6 to 8 weeks. Number two, when he comes back, there's no guarantee that Chris Paul is going to be Chris Paul. We keep taking for granted when guys are still effective. But one thing about the NBA, the cliff comes quick. We have seen plenty guys career, one injury, one difference, whatever. Now, I say this guy happened to Chris Paul, but it's a possibility. Coming after the playoffs now, everything is matchups. If Chris Paul isn't ready for round one and they go up against a guard heavy or a guard dominant team in the West, there's a good chance that a bottom team, maybe even like the Lakers, who could match up with them very well without Chris Paul, could come in there and sneak them, who was looking for revenge because Phoenix is the same team that kicked them out last year. So if you have no Chris Paul, I don't care what y'all call Westbrook. Westbrook beating whatever matchup they have at point guard. Then you have LeBron offsetting, well, not even offsetting, still better than Devin Booker. And then you have a big man battle between Ayton and AD, if AD could keep his glass bottle on the court. But at the end of the day, my point is, without Chris Paul on that team, that's not a championship team. Without Chris Paul fully healthy on that team, that's not a championship team.
I'm very interested to see how they play without Chris Paul. I'm very, very interested. This could be very interesting these next coming weeks. Because I still believe Phoenix is a good team, but I definitely believe they ain't that good without Chris Paul. So
to be honest, even with Chris Paul, the way you see Steph heating up and that chemistry coming together with him and Clay, and Andrew Wiggins is a very big part of that coming down to the players who plays offense and defense. And people forget there is that number 7 pick, I think he was, James Wiseman, who has been out for the first half of the season. When he comes back, you don't need him to go off to score 20. You don't even need James Wiseman to score 10. James Wiseman is going to come back and legit be that big body, almost like how they used Kevin Looney or whatever he was a couple of years ago. But to me, James Wiseman is better than Looney. All you need is that big body in the paint that grabs you rebounds, that disrupts shot, that helps Draymond and play help side. When he comes back, that team is going to be even more dangerous because now he creates more opportunity for Steph and Clay. That's another big body to set picks on that baseline, that backdoor pick, all that crap where he running around getting free. Like that team is going to be super scary when they get fully up to speed. And I don't even think with Chris Paul in a 7 game series that Phoenix is going to get past Golden State.
Yeah, I have Golden State winning the West, and I think um, some of the similar reasons, some of the same reasons you said. I think, but if you look at all the facts, right? Steph ain't really had one of his great best seasons, right? Steph still having a really good season, but they're seeing the MVP caliber season that we used to seeing from him, right? And they still second in the West. They played over 40 games without Klay Thompson, right? They've played over 20 games without Draymond, right? Steph, Clay, and Draymond still have not seen the court together for the season, right? So their core three has not seen the court together, right, for the season, right? Once they see the court together, chemistry is going to go up. Like you say, with Wiseman, I'm not expecting really nothing out of Wiseman, but the thing is, I think you don't really have to expect much out of him. I think his role is going to be similar to the way they used McGee a few years back. A guy is just going to come in, gonna get easy dunks just based off of all the shooting around him. Play a hard 15 minutes, keep your hands up, and get 2 or 3 or 4 easy dunks. And Kuminga, their rookie, he's playing really well, right? So I think
Yeah.
they have a lot of unexpected pieces that are contributing. To me, I watch them play, and you can tell that they are priming for a playoff run. A lot of guys like the rookie Kuminga, right? Jordan Poole, you see a lot of these dudes getting minutes, right? A lot of these dudes getting minutes, getting shine, right? Wiggins, a lot of these dudes getting minutes, getting shine. People forget Iguodala, still there, seasoned veteran, right? So they have a veteran team, right? Iguodala, Otto Porter Jr. They got veterans on that bench, right? That could come in and still give them good playoff minutes. So I still like Golden State to get out of the West. And depending on who they play in the East, I might have them winning it all. But they definitely is my pick to get out the West still. Um, Moving on, the last thing I want to touch before we head out is obviously we know we could talk about this for hours if we want, but uh, LeBron had a very interesting press conference over the weekend in which he said a few things, right? He was lotioning other GMs, right, from different
Always.
teams. He ain't lotion Rob Pelinka, but he lotioned other GMs, right? I think we know why he ain't lotion Rob Pelinka. But he also said that he wouldn't close the door on an opportunity to return to Cleveland. He said the Cavs have a few All Stars, Darius Garland, Jared Allen, and myself, right? And then he said blatantly and boldly, right? No misinterpretation. He said wherever Bronny plays, that's where I would play my final year. Now Bronny is scheduled to come, I think, in 2023, right? So that would be 1 year remaining on LeBron's current contract, and then after that, he could join Bronny. Um, I made the comment and I posted on social media, and I said I think the Lakers should look to trade LeBron, right? What do you think of LeBron's comments?
I've been saying this about 2 years ago. Uh, I always felt like I never liked when he was even coming now. To be honest with you, yeah, he came, he gave us a little bubble championship. Thanks. Like I said, don't make it. This is not Cleveland. This is not even Miami. Even though Miami had one before him. At the end of the day, bro, if you would have come to the Lakers and didn't win a championship, or if you never came to the Lakers at all, we have 16 championships before you, big brother. You're one that you put up on the end there, like I say, thanks, but it's almost like you giving someone a present that they already had. That's like, like if every year, that's like when people give you clothes. When your grandma used to give you clothes for Christmas. Like you realize that I buy clothes year round. You realize that you buy school clothes in January, you buy school clothes in September, you buy socks when you get a hole in them, you buy t-shirt and then when Christmas come around, you wait all year for Christmas. And all this time, when you come and you see that little rectangle box, that Sandy's rectangle box, like you ain't even have to unwrap it. From you see a rectangle box underneath your Christmas tree, you know that's clothes. So it's like, yeah, LeBron, we eat thanks, but we got enough clothes. Um, it's time to let go. I would have used this as the excuse and all. People are tired of LeBron already. You see stars even start narco, not just stars, legends, Laker legends. You got guys like Magic, them who put the Lakers in position by getting off of those bad contracts that Mitch Kupchak leave us with when he re-signed Mozgov and Luell Deng to them big stinking contracts. And then he got rid of those guys. He brought in guys. He's the one who drafted Lonzo Ball. He drafted Kyle Kuzma. He drafted Larry Nance. He drafted Josh Hart. He drafted Julius Randle. And all of those guys right now are key contributors to whatever team they're on. So it's like it wasn't Magic fault at the time. People was blaming Magic, saying that he draft a bunch of scrubs and a bunch of busts and stuff like that. But looking back at it right now, every single pick that Magic picked in his tenure as the Lakers president of basketball operation is now either a starter or a key player on whatever team they are in the league. Um, if the Lakers don't trade LeBron this off season, I feel like it's kind of a loss. My thing is, I think like LeBron should even ask for a trade. If you so say you want to go to Cleveland, you could go. But I think the Lakers should get something in return because those pieces that he have there, we know he ain't gonna keep there. Guys like Sexton, they could let us up. I mean, I really want these guys neither. But to be honest with you, I really want LeBron neither. Um, Anthony Davis, make your choice too. Like one thing with LA, we ain't begging, we ain't locking. We used to support Javaris Crittenton and Kwame Brown when we had them. We don't care. If you want to wear purple and gold, we'll support you to wear purple and gold. If you don't, and you have your vision someplace else, you leaving your doors open someplace else, and your heart is someplace else, big man, if Anthony Davis want to leave with him, bye. See you later. We could get rid of him too, and the Lakers will always rebuild. The Lakers will always be a top team, and when they're not a top team record-wise, the Lakers is almost like the Cowboys. Even when we lose, we make news. Even when the Lakers was what 20 and 50 something, our record was 20 and 50 something. We still used to make Sports Center every morning. Everybody want to see. Even when the Lakers lose, they want to see the Lakers lose. The Lakers are something like the Cowboys, even though we win more than the Cowboys. But that's just they like the Yankees. The Yankees too don't win the championship every year, but you should tune in to see the Yankees. You want to see who their top player is, who their top prospects is, all this crap. That's just some teams just have that organizational stigma around them.
Big market.
So at the end of the day, by me personally, like I say, LA is tired of LeBron. Laker legends. No, like real talk. Like people just think I hating, but we have seen this is the most I've ever seen Laker legend. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
Kareem hate
Ja-
LeBron.
James Worthy. Some guys who don't even talk. You have guys who don't even come out and do this on any level. These guys ain't even ripped Dwight Howard. When we trade all them assets to get Dwight Howard, and he still left the Lakers. These guys let Dwight Howard go on about his business. You had these guys like Kareem always quiet. James Worthy, we didn't even know was still alive. Magic Johnson, we didn't know where he been, but he's pop up when he ready. You had Elgin Baylor. not Elgin Baylor. Who the next way is? We had another Laker. Oh, Byron Scott. We had all these guys who came up with slick talks saying that, hey, even Shaq could say, but listen, LeBron got to get his act together quick. Lakers is championship time. When you have superstars, we expect championships. Now, before LeBron come, all these LeBron lovers is coming talk about, oh, before he come, he's irrelevant. Yes, we were irrelevant, but we didn't have championship aspirations. We Laker fans are not like Dolphin fans. We know when we suck. We know when we dead. After Kobe left, and even that last year when Kobe was there, we know we wasn't making no playoffs. We know we wasn't making no championship. We were not delusional in saying that, oh, the Lakers going to win the championship this year with Kobe and Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance. We know better. But LeBron came here and bring championship expectations. Thanks. He gave us one. People ain't gonna count it because they say it's a bubble one, but you get the ring for it, right? So it counts. Thanks, but it's time to go. And if you want to carry AD with you, bye. I would even if they, to be honest, even if the Lakers choose to build around Westbrook, we have seen Westbrook what
You
Westbrook
don't
could
mean
do.
that.
What?
You don't mean that.
We have seen what Westbrook could do when you put average guys around him. If you put Malik Monk, if you put other regular fellas and build around Westbrook, I say we win no championship. Like I say, Laker fans are realistic. We'll be much better than we are now, or we will probably even have the same record. You realize the Lakers under 500? With Westbrook alone, we could be under 500. So what's the difference? Think about it.
uh,
Westbrook by himself in OKC that year when he is averaging a triple double, make the playoffs in a with a 6 seed. Right now we in ninth or 10th with LeBron, AD, and Westbrook. So my thing is LeBron and AD could go and we could still be bottom 7, 8 seed, whatever. But at this point, the Lakers need to focus on their future. And the reason why I would trade LeBron instead of letting him walk is because you already know you have zero draft picks until 2027. You have no first round draft pick till 2027. And if you let this man walk out of LA without getting any type of compensation, the Lakers will be in the toilet until 2030.
um, I think they need to look at trading LeBron, and this is the first time I think I've ever seen since LeBron has been there. Even Lakers management, they don't look like they're on the same page with him, right? And see, we gotta understand what we're dealing with too, right? So you got people like Genie Bustem, right? Genie Bustem, this Lakers franchise is their life, right? It's mean the world to them, right? This is the family uh, heritage, right? So um, these people wasn't scared to cut off Jerry West, who's a Laker legend, right? So trust and believe. They ain't be scared to cut off LeBron, right? Um, and they've already said through thick and thin that they're supporting Rob Pelinka, right? They've already said that they're supporting Rob Pelinka. Rob Pelinka um, is the guy who refused to make any trades at the deadline. When LeBron expected a trade to happen, there were trades on the table, specifically one to get John Wall inside of Los Angeles. And Rob Pelinka said, "Look, I tired of giving up first round picks. This is our only first round pick we have. Um, if we give this one up, we can't get another one until 2029. So I ain't giving up no more first round picks. Not for John Wall. We can stay with the same team. Obviously, we know that didn't make LeBron too happy. We saw, like I say, him praising other GMs, you know. And I feel as if for LeBron, like I said, I complimentary in terms of I like, and here's how I feel about the Sun thing, right? On one hand, I honestly think that's pretty cool for you to want to do, right? I think that's pretty cool for you to want to play with your son. The first father to ever play with his son at the same time in the NBA. That'd be cool as hell. If you have a chance to do it, why wouldn't you want to do that, right? I respect it. But I think as a Laker fan, if you're a Laker fan, or if you're in the Laker front office, there is no way you sit down and listen to this boy basically tell you he gonna leave your team, right? He basically instructing you like, I'm gonna leave your team. I already looking forward to doing that. Championships ain't on my mind right now. Right now, I've tried to assemble a championship team. I failed, and now I'm on my way looking to play with my son, right? So as a Laker fan, or if you're in a Laker front office, I just don't see what everything that comes with being a Laker. How you just sit down and say, you know what, we okay with that. At the end of the day, one person is not bigger than the franchise, and LeBron is not drafted by the Lakers. He did not come there early in his career. Like you said, he already came to them when they've already won the second most championships in the NBA. So it's not as if they ain't used to winning. So I expect this breakup to be actually very messy. I expect this to be very messy. Um, I do expect the Lakers to consider trading LeBron. I don't know if he has a no trade clause. I think he might have a no trade clause. If he does, that makes things a little bit more difficult. But I would not be surprised if they really entertain that idea, and especially if they trade Anthony Davis. I wouldn't be surprised at that. Um, in terms of his son, like I say, it's a cool idea. But then another part of me is like, but um, why are you making your son's situation about you now? You know what I mean? Why not just let this dude come in organically and do his thing? Why it have to be, uh, you get a package deal if you draft him, you get me too. Like, I get it. Like I said, I get it. I understand it. But to me, it seems a lot about him, not necessarily about what best for his son.
Yeah, of course, it always is about him. And the problem is, LeBron has never been, to be honest with you, never been focused solely on the game of basketball. From LeBron has been in the league, it's always been a soap opera around him. Especially even when he started to garnish more off the court admiration, the more he got involved with things off the court and the more he got involved with all these things, you could see that it started to take over. If LeBron legit was focused solely on basketball his whole career, LeBron probably would have like 6 to 7 championships right now. Um, and that's the pros and cons of being a well-rounded person. Sometimes you could be the jack of all trades, but the master of none. So it's the difference between like you see LeBron. LeBron may have had multiple commercials, multiple endorsements, multiple all of these things, starting his own brand, starting his own company, starting all this crap in the middle of his career or even at the beginning of his career, which hindered him from digging in, like getting into that zone that Kobe was in for a few years, that zone that Jordan was in at a few years, that zone that a lot of guys get, even Steph, you could see at a certain part, like these guys be in a zone to where, but my whole life is a championship. Like the only thing I focus on right now is like maximizing my peak. He was there, I think, slightly in Miami, and that 1 year in Cleveland, but that was it. My thing is, if you look at the difference between his career and Tom Brady's career, Tom Brady been to the finals the same amount of times as LeBron. The difference is you could see Tom Brady don't care about nothing else but winning. You don't see these big time. You don't see the same amount of endorsements, even though Tom Brady is the face or the poster boy of the NFL. You don't see the same amount of commercials. You don't see the same amount of off the field activity, especially in his prime. Now you see Tom Brady start going to this TB12 nutrition and this TB12 clothing line. Like, yeah, this is like legit. Tom Brady is in his 40s on borrowed time. LeBron was doing these things when he's in his 20s. Not to take away from his off the field accomplishment or his off the court accomplishment, but I feel like because he focused so much off the court, it takes away from him on the court. So this is not this right there. What he did is a political move. Because right there, when he opened his mouth and said that, people already had thought in their mind that obviously LeBron and say for like the past 3 seasons now, or it would be cool or it would be nice to play in my son. But now he actually came out and said, wherever my son go, I go in. So that's you just raised that boy draft stock from being probably a end of the first round, middle of the first round, maybe lottery pick. Now you got Bronny probably getting almost one. Unless there's some super talent that come out that year, I don't care how good that kid is. If you could get Bronny on a rookie deal and LeBron on probably a veteran's minimum, because he can play anywhere regardless of the salary cap, he could sign there for free if he want to. You getting a 2-for-1 package. You ain't gonna take that? Especially if you're a bottom team who ain't used to exposure. Let's just say a dead team, let's say Orlando Magic. You ain't gonna take that? You can go there and draft some unsure rookie, number one over LeBron James' son, and a sure LeBron James coming there. Even if you all don't win, the amount of revenue you can get off of TV deals, the every game your arena gonna be sold out, knowing that that's LeBron farewell tour. Every time they turn on the TV, the Orlando Magic is now going to be on TV. This can be the first time people actually watch the Orlando Magic since probably Shaq and Penny and Tracy McGrady. So you can turn that down talking about, oh, he ain't ready for the league yet. I don't care what you say. Unless there's some super talent coming out that year, Bronny probably, just by LeBron saying that this weekend, Bronny probably getting number one. When I think he, like you said, he coming out next year. Well, he's eligible to come out next year. If he come in and enter the draft next year, this can cause even tanking really don't make sense because they still have a lottery. But guys still can tank just to have a higher chance in the lottery of getting that first round pick because you got teams like Detroit, Orlando Magics. You got teams who legit just been on the bottom of the bowl for decades. Not just Detroit ain't been good since Chauncey Billups and Rip Hamilton that leave. Orlando ain't been good since Dwight Howard leave. Like you have teams who legit been bad for 10, 15, 20 years. And you think if I got a chance to get LeBron on his son, I wouldn't throw every game. Like I'd be putting in my third string fellas to start and putting my fellas on IR. If I had a star on my team, he going on IR for the next 50 games. Or I can trade him off and all.
This could be an interesting time because I sure the draft boards don't have Bronny Guerin top 5. But he could be Guerin top 5. I pretty sure you're Guerin top 5. Because even let's look at like that's like you say, 2023 is probably when he's eligible to come out, which is just a year from now. Right? I don't think LeBron could fall off a cliff completely a year from now, right? LeBron may still be a guy who's giving you 25 or 24, 7 and 7, right? So with the revenue he brings, like you say, with the name he brings, right? And with his ability still being up there, right? With him still being one of the better players in the league. Well, let me tell you something. A team who been in the cellar dwellers from dead long, they may say, you know what, but LeBron might be our ticket to at least maybe we could sneak a second round appearance. You never know. A team where maybe on the outside, look at a team like Sacramento who have some good pieces in place, right? But they never could have put nothing together, right? Think they wouldn't take a chance on LeBron for a year?
Of course. And they can market that perfectly because they're the Kings. And that's his whole motto for his whole year. So he say he's the king, and him and his son will be coming there. So it'll be like the Kings or something like that. Would actually be perfect for them. And it's right in Sacramento. You ain't got to move too much.
You ain't got to move far. Right?
So at the end of the day, like I say, the stock is high on Brody now. And the tanking actually can start from this offseason. You can see certain teams giving away their young stars. You can see certain teams giving away their perennial all stars. You can see certain teams like Jeremy Grant. he might as well kiss Detroit goodbye. Because I don't need you coming at here beasting out next season. Fellas, like same thing with Sacramento. Certain guys around there, well, Fox ain't really nothing to talk about to me anyway. But certain guys, I see them get like Sabonis and stuff. Boy, Sabonis, either you have to get traded again, or I put you on IR. Like next season is going to be a very very interesting season, not just for the Lakers politics, but for the draft politics. Um, and like you say, I don't. There are generational talents that come along once every 7 to 10 years. You had guys like LeBron, Carmelo, and Wade that came out the same time. Then that 2004 class, you probably don't even remember.
When you're Dwight, really. Dwight from that class.
Dwight came out in 2005
Yeah, Dwight was playing on five. Yeah.
with Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Then it's 2006, you probably still don't remember. Then you had 2007 with Kevin Durant. Then it's 2008, you probably don't remember. Like every other year, it's certain draft class that, just like this last one, like these guys ain't impressing me. But unless there's a generational talent that is coming out with Bronny, someone that you could see is the clear cut head and shoulders. He can come into your organization like how Melo could have gone to Denver and carried him to the playoffs. Wade could have gone to Miami and carried him to the playoffs. LeBron could have gone to Cleveland and almost carried him to the playoffs. Like, unless you see a guy like that who's gonna totally change your team completely around, you think I want to be that GM with the first pick to pick a guy other than LeBron James' son, and then post that guy turn out to be like your boy Markel Fultz. You know how
I
stupid I would look
don't disrespect Marcus.
as a GM. I would never. They would never. I would never have a job in life ever again. If you be the GM to go there and pick another person when you could have get LeBron James' son and LeBron James, and you go on there and pick this other first round pick who had a good college season, like I say, like a Markel Fultz, and then this guy come in the league and yeah, he's okay. And yeah, he could have made a team roster, but he just turns out to be an average role player. And then that team who picks up Bronny gets LeBron, goes to the playoffs. And then for the next 5 years, they probably get a player who turns out to be better than your number one pick. I ain't taking the risk. If
I,
I ain't picking Bronny, I trade in that pick.
yeah, I think too, and then like I say, if it's one of those drafts where, like, I'll give you an example, the 2013 draft, where that uh, Embiid was the number one. He was a clear number one pick, but he was injured, so he didn't go number one. They had Wiggins as a number one pick. Wiggins was a good player, right? But people were unsure about Wiggins as number one, because they didn't thought he had, all the intangibles to be a superstar, right? He's still a good player, right? If it's like that, then obviously you better trade that pick, trade down, and you better select Bronny, right? And I think, like I say, we can see that stuff happen. Now, if it's a generation player, like you say, a team who really, really bad, a team like OKC would need everything. They may say, you know what, we got a generational player coming up right here, possible generational player. LeBron, at his old age, he still ain't get us nowhere. We need everything. So let's just draft this player right here. But like I say, if you see it's a team who already feel that they have one or two solid pieces in place, they just need someone, a senior person there that just stir the pot a little bit, sell tickets, get fans and seats, they would take a chance. Now, like I say, for Bronny, what does it mean for Bronny? I don't know. I can't tell you a team drafting him is going to have a legit plan for him. I can't tell you that. Because the only plan they really have is your father coming with you, right? So, for Bronny's sake, I hope Bronny is lottery pick worthy. That's for his sake. I hope he is worthy enough to be a lottery pick. Um, from what I've seen of him, he's a good player. I don't see star, but he's a good player, right? So we'll see what happens. But like you say, it'll be very, very interesting to see how it looks from
Yeah, trust me.
that
That,
vantage
that
point.
and it comes in right in time because the TV deal is coming in next season. I think that draft lottery, is going to be the most watched draft lottery, just for people to see who. gets that number one pick, that NBA draft is going to be the highest watched NBA draft probably ever. And to be honest, people just even just to see if that pick gets traded, because if a team that, let's say, I don't know, a team that doesn't want that pressure on them, and like you say, if Bronny isn't that good, but you don't want to be the guy who folds up and make that bad pick over Bronny. But then you have like three, four other teams that are offering you two, three first round picks and probably a star. I can pull the trigger. Because if I was a team like say Detroit, where I know. See, and then another thing is you got to realize these guys is this new age crybaby league. You don't want to be a team that you know Bronny and LeBron don't want to play for, because you can go there and draft him number one, and dog then pull a Ben Simmons, or dog them might come there and play a soap opera role where I'm happy here. Like these guys are getting very vocal to where they coming out to the media like, oh, I don't see myself. If Bronny come in and say I don't see myself fitting into this lineup, and LeBron have his back. But I mean, of course, LeBron have his back.
Of course, LeBron have his
That
back.
team in the tight, because now you got to go trade Bronny and LeBron on the low. Because fellas can say, listen, I only want to go to certain teams. Like you say, Bronny probably only gonna wake up for certain teams. Bronny only can probably even entertain certain teams. You ain't getting try out for everybody, and you even when you go to the combine, you in the combine, you ain't the same humble young fella like everybody else. You know why? Because now I have the backing of my daddy, who already in the league, and he ain't just in the league, he already run the league. So you think I come into this trial and some big time executive to come here and say, hey, I want to see you run this drill over and over again. Excuse me, sir? You meaning me? You meaning me? Hold on. Hey, daddy, look here. This boy running on, talking about he don't like the way I come off the screen. He want me run it again. You ain't want to piss off LeBron. Because if you piss off LeBron, Bronny gone. So it's like it's so much different ways this could pan out, and people don't want to believe it. But honestly and truly, players now have that type of power to where they could destroy franchises. We have seen players like obviously get their way, and that's why you had trades like what happened at the deadline between Embiid and I mean not Embiid, Simmons and Harden, because they was two players that was about to destroy two good franchises. Both of those teams are playoff bound, but you had Simmons there who was ready to destroy Philly, and you had Harden who was ready to destroy Brooklyn if you didn't get these guys what they wanted. So if these guys could push their will, and none of them, like we already established, are top five players. If these two guys who aren't top five players could have forced what they wanted and was ready to destroy franchises, what you think LeBron and his son could do if they don't feel like they're in the right situation?
Well, it'll be very, very interesting to see. Um, very, very interesting to see how it works out. And like you say, we in the player empowerment era, and with that, it brings different things. It brings different things, so we can see a lot of moving pieces, and especially with LeBron, a power move will always be involved. Um, but yeah, as we wrap up, we want to thank all y'all who was watching, all y'all who tuned in, all y'all who stay back to support us. You know what I mean? We go experts all day, every day. Um, Tune in next week, Tuesday. We'll be back again. More hot takes, uh, more wrap ups, whatever the case may be. Um, any final shout outs before you slide out? You try and go to bed at night.
Shout out
Before you
Tom
slide it.
Brady. Shout out Tom Brady. Shout out Buddy Hill. See you doing your thing down there.
Everybody getting numbers.
Yeah, Buddy getting buckets. Yeah. What else? It's pretty much for the week.
Yep. So until next time, ladies and gents, it's your boy Santo with CJ X Factor. We are signing off, and y'all take it easy.